If you've ever had a handful of groceries, you're going to love our Power Trunk Retrofit Kit by BimmerTech, and today we're going to show you how to install it on this F30. Welcome back, I'm Dylan with BimmerTech. Now, installing this kit is a little bit more in depth than some of the other things we've done in this channel, but it's still relatively straightforward. Here's some of the tools that you are going to need for the job. Anytime you're working on anything electronic in your BMW, you're going to want to disconnect the battery. Remove the cover in the trunk, and with a 10mm socket, remove the negative battery terminal and set it out of the way. Since your car will have no power and you're modifying your trunk, take a towel and tie it around the trunk latch so if it closes, you don't get locked out. The next thing to do is remove these covers here, and we're going to want to remove the trunk panel cover as well. To do that, we're going to need our BimmerTech pry tools, and on this car, a Phillips head screwdriver. Let's go. With a pry tool, pop the latches off of the trunk arm covers and pull the covers off by pulling down and away. Next, remove all of the fasteners holding the trunk carpet cover on. For this car, there are 8 Phillips head fasteners that you'll need to loosen with a screwdriver and then pop them out with a pry tool. There are also 2 flat fasteners that you'll use a pry tool on. Remove the emergency release by pushing the center tab to pop the metal cable out. Remove the inside panel for the trunk lid and the floor panel as well. Remove the 3 pins holding the side carpet in place. These 2 and 1 near the plastic trim near the floor closest to you. Once you do that, start persuading the carpet away from the side of the car. You're going to want to move your emergency gas release just to be on the safe side. Just stick your fingernail under here and lift up, and it pops right off. To remove the spring, grab it and pull towards you to disconnect the front, and push forward to disconnect the back. Be very careful because after you do that, the trunk will not be supported and it will fall on your head. Now when you remove that spring, be careful because that's going to release the tension that's on your trunk lid and it's going to want to fall, which is a good reminder that whenever you're working with your vehicle and you have the trunk up and the power disconnected, you're going to want to put a towel around your trunk latch so that way you don't lock yourself out. To prop your trunk up, you're going to want to use what you got laying around the shop. We used the light stand that we had. Take the main bracket and this smaller bracket. Place it over the arm of the trunk where the old spring connected. You'll want the ball joint facing out. Take the smaller bracket and place it underneath with the L side facing up. The BimmerTech brackets will sandwich the BMW bracket. You will have to pop off one of the black clips holding the cables to the arm of the trunk, as the bracket will have to go under them. Take one of the 12mm bolts and 13mm nuts and feed it through and tighten it down. Do the same on the other side.
For the second section, take the J bracket and slide it up this section of the body of the car. Hold it in place as you take the second ball joint section and rest it in the J of the J bracket. Take your last 12mm bolt and feed it into the threaded hole to secure the brackets in place. Finally, take the tabbed bracket and gently feed it behind the body of the car. Take your 10mm bolt and secure everything together. Be careful, because if you drop either of these pieces, you're not getting them back. Now we need to install the main spring. With this as the correct orientation, place the far detent over the ball joint and press it into place. And then do the same for the other side. You'll hear and feel them snap into place. Your trunk will now be supported again. Give the lid a few articulations to make sure everything is in place. Moving on to the latch area, pop out these two harness fasteners with a pry tool. Then, take the motor control box and plug in the white connector of the motor wiring harness into the slot on the unit itself. Feed the unit into the trunk with the cables facing the left and line up the holes where the fasteners came out. Screw in the supplied screws and tighten it down. Feed the trunk cable and motor harness through the lid as I am doing here. Take a T40 Torx bit and remove the main bolts from the latch unit. Push the latch through, remove the emergency release cable from the trunk lid, and disconnect the connector from the side. You'll need to reuse the emergency release cable. Pop off the plastic cover from the stock latch, pop the retaining clip out, and wiggle the metal bracket off. Reinstall the cable into the BimmerTech latch the opposite way you took it off, but you won't need the plastic cover. Give it a quick test to ensure function. Take the motor harness you fed through and plug it into the B side of the latch. Grab the main harness from the kit and plug the A connector into the A side of the latch. Plug the remaining BMW connector that you disconnected before into the corresponding BimmerTech connector. Install the actual latch cable in the latch by inserting the metal drum on the end of the cable into the slot on the latch. Lay the cable down across the designated area above and snap the latch cable securing connector into place, fastening the cable to the latch. Take the other harness with the connector labeled C and connect it to the corresponding C on the latch harness. Tuck the rear-facing cables out of the way and install the new latch. With your drill on a low but effective torque setting, reinstall the T40 Torx bolts. Now we have to install the buttons for the unit. Take the supplied template and with the thick side facing up, place it between these two locations by removing the tape and pressing down. Carefully, with a razor or other sharp tool, begin scoring the panel. This method of short and not very deep cuts added together will give her a smooth and clean finish. You don't need this to be perfect as the button will hide the cut. Don't cut a hole too large as the button won't snap into place. You could always take more material away if the cutout isn't big enough. Test fit the button and the last connector from the harness. Once you're satisfied, begin cleaning up and dressing the harnesses on the trunk lid with cable ties. Make sure you leave enough slack in the button harness to be able to reach where the button will go. Remove the button you installed from the panel to make installation easier. Once you've secured the panel enough, feed the button harness toward the hole you created, plug it into the button, and snap the button into place one last time. Finish securing the panel with all of the fasteners. You can also reinstall the left side arm cover. Now take the control box and with the supplied Velcro, attach it to the red junction box you see here with the connectors facing into the car. Attach the connector from the spring and the remaining connector from the main harness to the junction box. Each only fits one side. Do a quick test and secure it into place. Now we have to ground the system. With a 10mm socket, remove this nut here. Be careful not to drop it. Take the two ground connectors from the harness, slide it over the bolt, and secure the nut back into place over them. Tidy up the harnesses, snap the fuel door release back into place, and then fold the carpet back down and re-secure the fasteners. Reinstall the right side trunk arm cover. Remove this tub like so. We're going to tape the two fuse cables together to a large cable tie to help feed them under the remaining carpet. Removing the tub makes this extremely easy, so much so that you might not even need to tape the cables to a cable tie. Put the tub back in and clean everything up. On this fuse box, you're going to want to find fuse 130 and 107. You can consult the document that should be slid into the back of your fuse box. Using the included fuse puller, remove 107, which is the third one over on the top section of the large fuses, and 130, which is the first one on the second bank of fuses on the bottom row. Take those fuses that you pulled out, insert them into the slots on the BimmerTech harness, and place the BimmerTech fuse connection in slots 107 and 130. Put the floor panel back in, reinstall the emergency release handle, the emergency fuel door release hatch, reconnect the battery, and put the battery access panel back into place. Just a couple things before we wrap up this video. After you're done with your installation, of course you're going to want to reconnect your battery, but we're going to want to test this before we close the trunk. The reason we're going to test it before we close the trunk is because if for some reason you didn't hook it up correctly or your latch is faulty, if you close this and you can't get in through the back seats, you're in some trouble. So what we're going to do is what we call the screwdriver test. Take your screwdriver and insert it as if it was the catch on the bottom of the trunk. Once you push it in, it'll snap, and then you hear it pull it in as if it's closing the trunk. That means it will close. To unlock it, hold your screwdriver so it doesn't go flying across the room, press your release. Once it lets go, you know your trunk will open. Now, for the first time, to get your trunk to actually work, you do have to close it manually. If not, you're gonna be clicking the button and nothing's gonna happen. But when you open your trunk for the first time, you may see that it only opens about halfway. You have to tell your trunk the limitations of how high it's going to open. To do that, push your trunk manually all the way up, as high as it'll go, then hold down the trunk button. What you do, it will flash, and once it flashes, it will know that this is the height it needs to open to. And we can test it by letting it close. And now we're gonna open it. And it's all the way up. Installation is complete, the test runs well, and you have yourself a power trunk. As you can see, the installation of the Power Trunk Retrofit Kit by BimmerTech is simple. It's easy with no special tools or skills required. For more tips and tricks about BMWs and how BimmerTech can help you with your ride, make sure you subscribe and don't forget to ring that bell. Thanks for watching. Man, I'm glad I got this kit.